my name is Kaylie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, happy Saturday. Yes, I know, listen, I moved into my new apartment. Nothing is set up yet. I'm also breaking out a little bit. They're kind of like it's stress acne, because this time moving literally has just been so chaotic. It is insane. And I know the lighting is so shit, but listen, like I said, I don't have anything set up yet. So the white background, let me know if you guys want the white background back, because obviously, I don't know, yeah, just let me know. But like I was saying, the lighting is shit, I know. We'll fix it. It's gotta give me a little bit of time, but I'm so excited to be filming again. I missed you guys so much, y'all don't even know. But yeah, other than that, let's get into today's story time. I'm going to bring you guys up close. There we go. I'm trying to make the lighting less shit for you guys, but it doesn't seem to be working, so it is what it is. But before we get into today's story time, I'm going to do my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times at a first person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, so story time about how my boyfriend's twin was literally in love with me. So a little background information. This whole situation happened when I was 16 and a junior in high school. But for a minute, we need to go back to whenever I was in preschool. Okay, so the first day of preschool, I met this girl who we're gonna call Allie. And her and I became best friends instantly. It's funny because what we didn't know was our moms were actually best friends with each other as well, which made everything almost perfect because we were able to hang out whenever we wanted, and we actually lived way closer to each other than we thought we did. Now, how did I never meet her before if our parents were best friends? I don't know. I have a bad memory. Leave me alone. Anyways, I loved Allie's mom. She was honestly like a second mother to me. She treated me like I was her biological kid. Fast forward, right before I started kindergarten, my parents and I moved about an hour away from my hometown. So now, although Allie and I went to different schools, we still managed to talk to each other a lot. It was super easy for us to keep in touch because our moms were best friends. And obviously they kept in touch with each other as well. So all the way up until high school, I would go to her house almost literally every single weekend, and I would spend the whole weekend at her house with her and her family. And honestly, like I said before, love Allie's mom. She's literally the sweetest woman on earth. If Allie and I would go shopping and I didn't have any money, she would give me money to go shopping as well, so that way I didn't really feel left out. Anytime I needed advice, she was there, which I was honestly really grateful to have her because my mom was not as nurturing as Allie's mom. Anyways, so fast forward, I had just turned 16 and I was starting my junior year in high school, and I had a huge crush on this boy who we're gonna call Ethan. He was tall with dark curly hair. If I could build my dream boyfriend, it would be him. Not even being dramatic. Anyways, so of course, because Allie's my best friend, I told her about Ethan and that I had feelings for him. And her response was, oh my gosh, bro, I follow him on Instagram and he's so hot.
Side eye. Side eye.
Okay. Which I didn't think anything of it whenever she said that. Instead, I was just like, I know he's hot. That's all me. Yeah. Anyways, so one thing that I feel is a universal experience is when you like a guy or you all of a sudden start dating somebody. As soon as you tell somebody about it, you either get ghosted or shit doesn't work out. The amount of times that I've experienced this, who else has been through this? Where, you and a guy have, and it could be y'all have been talking for months, and then you finally tell people, done. You get into a relationship with somebody that you've been talking to for months. All of a sudden you tell somebody about it, done. Doesn't work out. It's honestly ridiculous. Not nice at all. Anyways, so then, when it wouldn't work out with these guys, they would of course run and tell everybody that they got with me. Or there's a guy that you reject and then they still tell everybody, oh, we did this together, and it's embarrassing. Bro, no, we didn't do that. why are you lying? Why are you lying?
Bro. Now, I hate when people lie. Do not lie.
Anyways, or at least that's just my experience. Whichever one it is, it sucks balls. Anyways, so I decide that Ethan and I are going to sneak around for a little bit to make sure that things were good between us before I told anybody. This was not going to be another one of those situations. I was not going to embarrass myself like that again. Fuck no. So Ethan and I were like Romeo and Juliet, except luckily for me, Ethan actually liked me. But Ethan also had a twin, and we're gonna call him Jack. And Jack and I were pretty good friends, but that was it. I never saw him as anything more, not even a little bit. But that was not the case for Jack. Of course, Jack catches feelings for me, and he ended up telling me that he liked me. But during this time, Ethan and I were, you know, in the talking stage before a relationship. Like, we're going on dates, you know, and all of that. Like, we were hanging out pretty much 24/7, which did eventually start causing problems between Jack, Ethan, and I, because Jack would get super jealous. And like I said, Ethan and I were trying to keep stuff on the DL, so we never told Jack about our feelings for each other. Mainly because we didn't want to hurt him, even though I'm not gonna lie, if we just probably would have told him up front, it probably would have saved us so much unnecessary stress and drama if we would have just told him. But when somebody acts like a fucking child and cannot handle being told the truth, what else can you do? I mean, probably still tell them the truth and not really give a fuck about how they react to it, but you know. But yeah, Jack would always tell me that I'm the most beautiful girl in the world, and that I was the only one that he wanted, and that I make him want to be a better man, which is like, bro, hold on. Like, hold up. One, we're literally in high school, so what the fuck does that mean? And two, you're not a man if you can't handle your emotions. Like, he was honestly making me think that he was like gonna fucking propose to me or something. And I'm not even trying to be one of those people that's like full of themselves, but this kid literally like worshipped and kissed the ground that I walked on. Literally. Like, it was an obsession. It made me very uncomfortable, to say the least. You know, this reminds me of this meme that I saw on Instagram, and it's like, when the wrong one is applying pressure, it feels like harassment. And it's so true, because it's like, when you get unwanted advances from the one that just like you don't want, it literally does feel like harassment. Like, their gestures are not like, it's just like, no, why are you doing that? Stop. You know, y'all, sometimes I love the internet and sometimes I hate the internet. Like, I saw this video and this guy's like, when I say nobody wants me, that's not to anybody who's been in my DMs from 6 months to a year. That's for my crush.
When I say, damn, nobody want me, that's not directed at nobody that's been in my inbox for 6 months to a year that I've been ducking. That's to my crush. That's to somebody who got potential. I didn't see nothing in you. Go the fuck back to bed. Stop harassing me.
I just thought that was funny. So yeah, that was pretty much what was happening with Jack. He meant well and he was trying to be sweet, but his nice gestures just turned into uncomfortable situations because I've had to reject him so many times, like way too many times. I would literally say to him, Jack, I told you that we're friends. Please stop catching feelings for me. How do you continue to catch feelings for somebody after they literally tell you that, like, bro, I don't like you? How do you continue to allow yourself to catch feelings for them? Stop it now. Anyway, so yeah, I'd be like, please don't catch feelings for me. He'd be like, but I already have feelings for you. Like, okay, now this man is just putting extra shit on my plate. Because now, what do I have to do? I have to find a way to grab a hold of these feelings that he has for me and these dreams slash like a fantasy that he had of us being together, and crush them. Stomp on them, burn them, run them over with a fucking car, actually a bus, curb stomp them, beat them with a baseball bat. And if y'all have any other suggestions, leave them down below in the comments, because honestly, I was getting tired of this fucking cycle where any guy that I would become friends with would catch feelings for me and then I had to stop being friends with them. This is just more proof that guys cannot be friends with girls. You will never be able to change my mind on that. Not unless he is in, no, like no. Guys can be friends with the girls, but they can't be best friends with girls. No. I've been the girl best friend before. I've had to cut the guy best friend off because he's caught feelings for me every time. There's no such thing as a guy best friend. Never. Anyway, so yeah, Jack asked me out a couple of times. I told him I only see him as a friend and we should just stay friends, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I was super annoyed with this because a lot of people, Jack made it seem like I was leading him on, and I wasn't. So then this caused people to think that I was using Jack to get to Ethan, which was purely not the case. I actually liked Jack as a friend. And then when I met Ethan, Ethan and I started to have a romantic connection. Also, Ethan and I were the ones who became friends first, but Jack and I were closer than Ethan and I were until we started hanging out more. I don't really know if any of that made sense, but hopefully y'all get it. So eventually, Ethan ends up asking me to be his girlfriend, and the first 2 times I said no, because I was not ready, okay? To be honest, being single was actually way better than people made it out to be. Like, people were like, oh, like, I want a boyfriend, being single is so lonely, nah, 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 nah. Honestly, I loved it because I felt like every time that I had a guy in my life, it was fucking drama. Preach to that shit. Like, I had trust issues from my last relationship, or should I say last relationships being plural, because one of my exes was just, we weren't even really dating. He was like a weirdo though. And he went around telling everybody that we were dating when we weren't. But then there was my super toxic ex-boyfriend, who this rolls right into what we just talked about. He got his girl best friend pregnant.
Emotional, damn it.
Yeah. As you could imagine, it took a while for me to heal from that. Like, that shit fucked me up. The trust issues, yeah, the trust issues, that's all. Like, there's nothing else to say. Like, I literally was terrified to date anybody after that, so I purposely stayed single for a whole year. Like, completely avoided men in general. Honestly, let me tell y'all the conclusion that I came to. Okay? Now, if anybody watched my Storytime Smash videos back in November, some of y'all may remember whenever I talked about being a raccoon. Okay? Being a raccoon. In today's day and age, trying to find a decent, not good, a decent man is like digging through trash, a fucking dumpster. And I'm sorry, but you know what? I'm not a raccoon, and I'm sure as hell not a fucking dumpster diver. Maybe I used to be, but not anymore. Because I shouldn't have to dig through trash to find something valuable. AKA, I shouldn't have to experience all these shitty ass men in order to find a good one. Like, I'm sure as hell not doing that anymore, and neither should y'all, because we're not raccoons or dumpster divers. It's time to retire. Put the trash cans in the streets where they belong, which is where half of these men belong. In the fucking streets. Anyways, y'all get it. Men, if y'all are listening to this, no hate to y'all. I'm sure that some of y'all feel the same way about women. So, like, yeah. Anyways, y'all get it. So even if there was a guy that I really liked, nope. Was not doing it. Y'all got me fucked up. Anyway, so like I said, after the 3rd time of Ethan asking me out, I finally said yes, because I'm not gonna lie, like, underneath all the trust issues and like emotions that I was having, I was in love with this guy. I really was, truly. And the best part about him and I was the fact that we were pretty much best friends before. And I feel like that is like one of the most important things. Like, that is just one of the best foundations to a relationship. And that's probably the reason why I had such strong feelings for him. So, like I said yes to him. But here's the thing, right? Now, we were extremely nervous to tell Jack. As y'all could probably imagine why. It's a little bit cuckoo. No, but seriously, it's because he still had a crush on me. Y'all probably already knew that though. But we knew that we had to do it sooner or later, because we knew that it was gonna hurt him more if we told him later, after he just like kept trying to date me, and then he would be like, well, what the fuck? So you just made me look like an idiot this whole time thinking that you were single, you know, and meanwhile you're effing with my brother. Like, nah, babe, you're not about to make me look like the bad guy. No. Anyways, and also this would be great because then he would stop hitting on me and asking me to be in a relationship while I was getting to know his brother in a romantic way, / dating him. That would have been a whole mess. Anyway, so fast forward. Ethan and I, we tell Jack that we are now in a relationship. And to be honest, we didn't know what his reaction was gonna be. We didn't know if he was gonna be sad or angry or act supportive and then try to be in the back and break us up. But no, we should have knew. He was pissed. Actually, pissed off is a complete understatement. The look he had on his face was concerning. Like, he was giving fucking crazy eyes.
They gonna get me.
Like, bro looked like he was about to crash out. Like, I did not want to be there for it. So then he starts threatening to leave, which was weird because I don't know where he would have went. Like, bro was about to leave his own house. Anyways, a big reason on why I never even thought of Jack in a romantic way was because I knew that I wouldn't be able to handle his mood swings. Because every time that he would get sad or mad, he would throw a freaking temper tantrum, literally. And I'm not talking one where he's like just huffing and puffing and stomping around, no. I'm talking literally, this kid, first of all, he's 16 years old, okay? And he would act like he was 4. He would throw shit around, break shit, scream. Oh my God, it was embarrassing. Like, honestly, I don't know how you can act like that and not be embarrassed. Like, actually. And honestly, if I'm gonna be in a relationship with somebody, I plan on being your girlfriend, not your mother, and sure as hell not your babysitter. So here's my solution to this problem, right? Listen, I know that this was probably the worst idea I could have thought of, but keep in mind, I was 16 and you live and you learn. So Allie had been telling me about how she wanted to date somebody who didn't go to her school, so that way if things didn't work out, she wouldn't have to see them in the hallways or anything like that, or just in general, which was pretty understandable. So then light bulbs start going off in my head, and I decide to tell Allie about Jack and how they would make the perfect couple. Think about it. Allie and I are best friends. Jack and Ethan are best friends. This would get Jack to stop harassing me. Allie would have the boyfriend that she wanted who did not go to her school. It was perfect. But you know, let's just say that I was convinced that the stuff that you saw in movies might actually work in real life. Sometimes they do, but you know. Anyway, so yeah, I was super excited about this because Jack and I wouldn't have to keep sneaking around like Romeo and Juliet. And I know you guys are probably like, but Kaylee, you said that you already told Jack that you and Ethan were dating. Yeah, I did, but I didn't want to rub it in Jack's face because him and I were literally going on dates 24/7, you know, the full 9 yards, PDA and everything. So this is when I decided to put my plan into motion. I tell Allie about Jack, and her first response kind of threw me off a little bit. She was like, well, why do you get to have Ethan? And I'm like, bitch, be so fucking for real, what the fuck? And I'm like, what do you mean, why do I get to have Ethan? First of all, I knew him first. Second of all, him and I both liked each other. Third of all, he's my boyfriend, so why the fuck does it matter now? Dummy. Some girls can be so fucking annoying. Why do you get to have Ethan? Cause I fucking said so, period. Anyways, girly really bothered me with that one, especially whenever she went, ugh, fine, I guess I'll take Jack, but only because you and Ethan are official. And I'm like, oh bitch. Yeah, I know right there, I should have literally just like aborted the mission, you know, killed that shit right there, but I didn't. I was like, no, listen, like Jack's a good friend of mine. He's really a nice guy. He's definitely your type, not really mine. And to be honest, I was the girl that didn't like the nice guys. I liked the bad boys, you know. Now, do I wish that I could be the girl who falls for the good guys who actually want to treat them right and love them for who they are? Yeah, but that just wasn't in the cards for me, you know? Y'all, I feel the same exact way about myself. Like, why can't I actually be happy with the guys who want to treat me right and who are not toxic as fuck? When one of y'all find the answer to that, put it down below in the comments, like let me know, because I'm getting tired of this shit. You know what, actually, what we should do is we should ask ChatGPT what she thinks. I fucking love ChatGPT. All right, let's see. Why am I more attracted to bad boys rather than good guys? Okay, we're gonna have her read it.
Being more attracted to bad boys over good guys can stem from several factors.
First of all, why is it a man's voice? It was just a female's voice the other day.
1, excitement and novelty. Bad boys often seem more adventurous and unpredictable. 2, confidence and charisma. They exude confidence, which is attractive. 3, challenge and validation. Winning over a bad boy can feel rewarding. 4, rebellion and independence. Being with a bad boy can feel like a rebellious choice. 5, emotional intensity. Relationships with bad boys can be passionate and intense. 6, past experiences. Your relationship history influences your preferences. 7. Unresolved issues. Attraction to bad boys can be linked to unresolved personal issues or trauma. Reflecting on these factors can help you understand your preferences and make healthier relationship choices.
You know what, y'all? Screw ChatGPT. She don't know shit. Like, for real. About to tell me about myself. Like, what? Weird as fuck. Okay, I'm trying to make the lighting a little bit better. Hopefully this works. Anyway, so before I tell Jack about Allie, he's still on his bullshit of, are you sure I don't have a chance with you? I could treat you better. Are you sure you really even like him? Are you sure you even really... Okay, yeah. And I'm like, bro, I'm literally dating your brother. Leave me alone. Sorry, not sorry. So after I finally tell Jack about Allie, he asks me to show him some pictures of her. So I text her and I'm like, hey, send me some pics of yourself because Jack wants to see what you look like. And you know, he was like, oh, she's cute, whatever. And just when I thought life was about to get good, shit flew south. Fucking immediately. Oh my God, you would have thought that like, you would have thought I accidentally dropped a bomb. Like literally. Fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous. Anyways, so listen to this, y'all. Eventually, Allie, you know, she starts going over Ethan and Jack's house, which remember, I live an hour away from Allie and I don't go to her school, so she would have to drive an hour to come and hang out with Jack. Well, all of a sudden, Allie starts telling Jack and Ethan's parents a bunch of lies about me. The fucking psycho even went as far as to making up fake conversations that were over text between her and I. And in these conversations, it was me talking shit about their whole family. Yup. And of course, in these conversations, Allie's being Captain Save-A-Ho and trying to stick up for her family. Not only was I talking shit about the whole family, but I also said that I was using Jack to get closer to Ethan. Like, give me a fucking break. But then apparently I couldn't decide who I wanted, so I was gonna just have both of them by leading them on and making them think that I liked both of them. Y'all can see how this is a fucking problem. Now, I've also talked about this in a few videos, you know, ago, about how usually, and it's shit to say, but the person who makes up the lie or the rumor, if they get to the person first, usually they control the narrative. And I'm a firm believer that people are so gullible nowadays. Like if I were to go to one of my friends and be like, oh my goodness, Alexa was talking shit about you. Was Alexa talking shit? No, I'm lying. But do you think my friend is gonna believe me who just came out of nowhere and said it? She'd be like, oh, well, why is Kaylie making this up out of nowhere? Or is she gonna believe Alexa who's like, no, I wasn't talking about shit about you. Like, I swear. Now, if the friend that I lied to was actually not gullible and looked at the way that Alexa treated other people and Alexa's character and knows that that's something she wouldn't do, that's a different story. But think about the people who start rumors in school, okay? Like, oh, this girl and this guy did the nasty. Did that happen? No. Are people most likely gonna believe this rumor? Yes. Not only because the person who told everybody the rumor first kind of controls the narrative, but also people always want to believe the more interesting story. Like, it's not that interesting if they just made out. It's more interesting that they did the nasty. So yeah, me trying to explain these fake conversations between her and I was just, y'all, it's like walking out of a bar and tripping and falling and then trying to convince the police it's not because I'm drunk, it's because I'm clumsy. So here I am trying to explain to these two boomers who did not grow up in the age of technology that these conversations were fake. As you could imagine, well, first of all, they didn't really believe me. And two, as you could imagine, this caused a huge tear between Ethan and I's family. Because when you're dating somebody, if you have issues with their family, especially when y'all are not adults, it's hard. It can also be hard when you're adults, but as teenagers, it's especially hard because your parents control almost every aspect of your life. And when they don't like the person that you're dating, they can control when you see them, how often you see them, or if you see them at all. So yeah, and this even got to the point where Jack told me that him and I can't be friends because of all the things that I had said about him and his family. So I confront Allie about this. I'm pissed. I texted her and called her, asking her why she would make up these lies. And then what does she do? She goes crying to their parents saying that I'm bullying her. She even got her mother involved, which is like, what the fuck are we? Are we 12? I'm pretty sure even 12-year-olds don't get their parents involved in shit anymore. So then eventually, when I go over to Ethan and Jack's house, Jack's dad said to me, oh, well, you upsetting Allie is making Jack upset, which is complete bullshit, because it's like, how do you think I feel? Like, y'all have known me way longer than you've known her. All of a sudden, whenever Allie comes into the picture, I start saying all these terrible things about you guys. How the fuck does that make sense? It doesn't. Y'all, I actually just watched an episode of this show called Worst Roommate Ever on Netflix. And every episode is like a different story of like a terrible roommate situation. And I don't remember any of their names, so I'm just gonna make them up. But in one of the episodes, there was this guy, Parker, living with this old lady, right? And they were roommates. She had extra rooms or whatever. They had been living together for years, never had any problems. All of a sudden, she needs more money, so this guy, Derek, she's like, yeah, move in. It's all cool. A bunch of shit starts happening around the house. This is so gross, but every morning in the bathtub, there would be vomit and feces in there. And then all of a sudden, I'm pretty sure that doorknobs were missing and shit like that. And Derek goes and he's like, yeah, it's Parker who's doing all this. And she believes Derek instead of Parker, who she's lived with for years. They'd never had any of these problems before Derek showed up. It just pisses me off when all of a sudden people will believe the new person over the person that they've known forever, who they didn't have any problems with before the new person came. I could see if there was a problem where maybe I got jealous of Allie dating Jack and I started to do things to make her look like a bad person, but there was literally none of that going on. Oh, and if y'all are curious about what ended up happening in that episode, Derek and the old lady eventually came up with a plan to get Parker arrested and kicked out of the house, and it worked. And then she realized that it was Derek who was doing all that shit, and so they got Parker out of jail. Not Derek, but she did. And then she told Derek that he had to leave, and then he killed her. Yep. That's what happened. Anyway, so yeah, the whole situation was just bullshit. And then, like I said, Allie gets her mom involved. Allie's mom sent me some nasty text messages telling me that I'm a horrible friend to her daughter. She even texted my mom and she was like, your daughter is a mean girl who pretends to be sweet and she's really not. They're not allowed to be friends anymore. You need to do something, blah, 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 blah. That's what that was. And the thing I think that upsets me most about the situation was the fact that, one, Allie and I have been best friends since we were literally, also, Allie had told me that if she doesn't see Jack as being the relationship, you know, a guy that she wants to be in a relationship, she was just going to hook up with him. And of course, me being Allie's best friend, I didn't tell Jack this at all. And another thing that really annoyed me about this situation was my mom and I do not get along at all. Like I said, my mom is not nurturing to me. So whenever Allie's mom texted my mom this, my mom comes into my room and she's like, she has the audacity to ask me, why are you bullying Allie? And I'm like, bitch, whose side are you on? Like, instead of coming to me and just being like, oh, like, what happened between you and Allie? You know, and try to get my side of the story. It's just annoying because she believes everybody except for me. And my dad, he doesn't like Allie at all. Anytime that I was going to hang out with her, he would always tell me to be careful with her because she's a pathological liar and she's always had a lying issue ever since she was a kid. And this was literally a month before I introduced her to Jack. I really wish that I would have listened to him, but it was nice to know that I at least had somebody who was listening to me and who believed me, because I felt like I was going crazy. Honestly, there were a ton of red flags that I just blew past. Why? Because I'm fucking colorblind, clearly. Like, for example, she followed Ethan, right? And she followed him before I even mentioned Ethan to her, which is weird because, one, she didn't go to my school. She didn't know anybody who went to my school. And she said that she found him because she was going through my followers, which first of all was weird as fuck to begin with. And then she was like, yeah, I thought he was hot, so I followed him. Like, I found him in your followers.
Why are you weird? Why are you this way? Why are you weird is a serious question.
Like, she was so fucking weird. And after this, Allie starts like almost recruiting people at my school that she doesn't even go to be in this like hate club about me. I mean, at the end of the day, I pretty much have my own fan club.
I used to be the most negative person on earth.
something bad happened. Why the fuck this had to fucking happen to me right now? But they say when you change your perspective, that's when miracles happen.
Not only the girls who hated me, but girls who liked my boyfriend because Ethan was extremely good looking and there were a lot of girls that had crushes on him. She even went as far as recruiting my middle school boyfriend. And honestly, I very much disliked this kid so much because he would go around telling everybody that like I had the best coochie, and it's like, bro, you never even experienced it. So like, you're weird. The only thing we ever did was kiss, and this relationship, remember how I told you that, you know, the guy in the beginning who was like, oh, like, you know, we're in a relationship. So this relationship that we were in only lasted a month, mainly because I got bored of him and realized how much of an asshole he was pretty early on, thankfully. And we're going to be referring to this ex as trash because I think it would be disrespectful to call him by anything else. Anyway, so Jack and Trash become best friends, and eventually Trash started going to his house all the time. Trash was also a weirdo because he would tell Ethan and Jack's dad about the intimate things that happened between us when we were in middle school. Like, Trash lived in a complete fantasy world. Like, who the hell tells a grown-ass adult about sexual encounters you had in middle school? It's weird. That, once again, never happened. Also, what I found really weird was the fact that anytime Trash would talk to a new girl, they would immediately follow me on social media. They would stalk through all of my stuff, probably because he was so obsessed with me that he would tell everybody that I was his ex-girlfriend, and like, just weird, bro. I also found out from some of my mutual friends of Allie and I's that she would post on her Finsta about me constantly. Like, she would always talk about how people compare her and I all the time, and she hates it because when people compare us, that means that we have something in common, and she doesn't want to have anything in common with me.
Girl, shut the fuck up!
Girl, be so fucking for real. Ain't nobody comparing us. There's nothing to compare. I honestly should have listened to some of my other friends who told me that she was a fucking psycho, because it's true. How have we been best friends for, is a decade, 10 years? I need to look it up. For over a decade, and you screw me over for a guy that you don't know from Adam. Not only that, but I literally introduced you to, and you didn't even like him in the first place. So fast forward, eventually Allie ends up texting me the one night telling me that I'm a fake ass bitch and that I act like I'm all that, but I'm really not. She was like, you said you had issues with me, so I tried to fix them, but just when I think we're good, you still continue to talk about me and make up lies about me that don't even make any sense. I hope that one day you realize there's more to life than just talking about me. Like, I don't even know if she knew that she was a liar and crazy at this point, because like, it seemed like she talked herself into believing that she was in the right and that these things actually did happen. Like, I don't know if she thinks that I shoved my arm up my ass and just pulled out these fake stories and these lies about her, but I can promise you that's not what fucking happened. I guarantee it. Fast forward, months went on. Jack and Ethan grew apart because of the whole situation. Allie and I weren't even allowed over at Ethan and Jack's house at the same time, so that way the drama could be avoided. This girl wanted to be the victim so bad, and her plan worked because at the end of the day, everybody saw me as the villain. And Allie and I not being at that house at the same time didn't even work because Jack was still there. You know, whenever I would come over, he would throw shit around his room and scream and give me the middle finger, you know, while we're eating dinner, call me a bitch. Honestly, I think the only reason why Allie and Jack were still together at that point was because in their sick, twisted minds, they thought that this would get to me. Like, I honestly think that neither of them had any romantic feelings towards each other whatsoever. Now, I love the boy's mom, okay? She's so sweet. But like, the one day she said to me, she was like, I feel bad for Allie because it must be terrible seeing your boyfriend get upset over another girl, especially when he does it in front of you. I guess meaning that Jack throwing temper tantrums over the fact that he can't have me would make me feel flattered or something, which is literally the complete opposite of how I felt. Here's my thing. If I'm dating a guy and he's getting that mad over another girl, we're done. Done. If your man talks about his ex all the time, there is a chance that he still loves his ex. I promise you. Because any person that does not care about somebody will not waste their breath speaking about them. It's embarrassing. But yeah, pretty much they continue to try and make our lives a living hell. Also, the boy's dad favorited Jack, so this made it even more difficult for Ethan and I because anytime that anything would happen, he would take Allie's side. But I eventually did hear that their dad started to realize that Allie was a manipulative bitch, and she would constantly complain about how Jack wasn't spending enough money on her. Up till this day, I still have no idea what I did to cause her to do all this shit to me, because all I ever wanted for her was for her to be happy and live a successful life. That's all. Ethan and I are still dating years later. We are very happy with each other. Allie and Jack lasted for about a year, but then whenever Jack went off to university, he cheated on her, so that was the end of that. Jack and I ended up putting all the bullshit behind us, and we became really good friends again, which probably eats Allie alive. Her and I haven't spoken to each other still, and honestly, I don't ever want to speak to her again. I still battle with anxiety to this day because of her and the uncomfortable situations that she put me in. Not only that, but my trust issues, top tier. Like, it is extremely hard for me to make friends with people now, so thanks for that. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's story time. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you want to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the links down below in the description. I'm sorry for the lighting in this video, guys. I will make sure that everything is set up for next weekend, so that way we don't have such a change in the lighting. It's kind of annoying, I know. But yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you next Saturday with a new story time.